I wasn't born rich. I wasn't born into a powerful family. In fact, I failed my university entrance exam twice. I applied for jobs at dozens of companies and got rejected by all of them. Even KFC hired 24 out of 25 applicants. Guess who was the only one left out? Me. But you see, life changes the moment you decide you won't be ordinary. I could have accepted those failures as my fate. I could have told myself, maybe I'm just not good enough. But I didn't. Because the extraordinary don't wait for permission. They choose to be different. They decide to rise, no matter how many times they fall. When I started Alibaba, people laughed. They said, how can a man who knows nothing about technology build an internet company? The banks wouldn't lend us money. Investors refused to believe in us. But I believed. I saw it before it existed. Because here's the truth. Success doesn't start with proof. It starts with belief. The world is full of people who accept life as it is. They wait for the right time to start. They wait for someone to give them a chance. But if you keep waiting, you'll wait forever. If not now, when? If not you, who? The decision to be extraordinary doesn't come when things are easy. It comes when things are tough. When everyone tells you no, and you still stand up and say, I will do it anyway. So the question is, will you be like everyone else, waiting, hesitating, doubting? Or will you make the decision that changes everything? The decision to be extraordinary. When I started Alibaba, I had no money, no technology, no connections. The only thing I had was confidence. Confidence that we could create something big, even when nobody else believed it. Most people wait to feel confident before they take action. But that's not how confidence works. Confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. When you act, when you take risks, when you step into the unknown, that's when confidence is built. I wasn't the smartest. I didn't know much about business or the internet, but I acted as if I did. I spoke with conviction. I stood in front of people and told them, we will build the biggest e-commerce company in China. I said it before we had a single success story. Why? Because if I didn't believe in my dream, why would anyone else? Many people hesitate because they fear looking foolish. They worry about what others will think. But let me tell you something. Those who criticize you today will be the ones applauding you tomorrow. I've been laughed at more times than I can count. If I had let that stop me, Alibaba wouldn't exist. The world belongs to those who dare. Those who step forward when everyone else steps back. So act confidently, even before you feel ready. Because the truth is, no one is ever truly ready. The ones who win are the ones who move forward anyway. You want success? Start acting like you already have it. Speak with confidence, walk with confidence, decide with confidence. Because when you do, the world starts treating you differently. Opportunities open, people listen, doors unlock. So, will you wait for confidence to magically appear, or will you step forward and create it? The choice is yours. I have failed more times than I can count. I failed my university entrance exam twice. I applied to 30 jobs and got rejected by every single one. Even KFC, which hired 24 out of 25 applicants, didn't hire me. I was the only one rejected. But here's what I learned. Failure is never the end. It's the beginning. Every rejection, every disappointment, every mistake, it's all part of the journey. The problem is, most people are afraid to fail, so they never take the risks that lead to success. When I started Alibaba, we faced failure constantly. We couldn't get funding, we made bad decisions, we struggled. But every failure taught us something valuable. Instead of fearing failure, I embraced it. I asked myself, what can I learn from this? Because failure is not the opposite of success. It's a step toward it. Some of the world's most successful people have failed more than anyone else. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he created. But they kept going. Why? Because they understood that failure is just feedback. It tells you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. If you've failed before, congratulations. That means you tried. Most people don't even get that far. The key is to fail, learn, and adjust. If something doesn't work, don't give up. Change your strategy. So the real question is, are you willing to fail enough times to succeed? Because those who win in life are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who keep going despite it. Before Alibaba became a reality, I already saw it in my mind. I imagined a company that would connect small businesses to the world. I could see it so clearly, even when everyone else said it was impossible. Success doesn't start with money, skills, or connections. It starts in your mind. If you can't see yourself winning, how can you expect to get there? The world is filled with people who only believe in what they can see, but the greatest entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders believe before they see. Every morning, I took time to visualize my goals. I saw Alibaba growing. I saw our team expanding. I imagined investors believing in us. I acted as if it had already happened. And because I believed in that vision so strongly, my actions followed. Look at Olympic athletes. Before they even compete, they close their eyes and see themselves winning. They feel the moment, the victory, the celebration. That's because your brain follows what you imagine. If you picture failure, you hesitate. If you visualize success, you move with confidence. But let me be clear, visualization alone is not enough. You have to take action. You have to work toward that vision every single day. But when you have absolute clarity about where you're going, nothing can stop you. So, what do you see when you close your eyes? Are you focusing on problems, or are you visualizing possibilities? Because success doesn't just happen. It starts with a vision, and that vision starts with you. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you start falling behind. The world never stops changing, so why should you? The people who succeed are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who keep learning, growing, and improving every single day. When I started Alibaba, I knew nothing about the internet. I didn't even know how to type. But instead of seeing that as a weakness, I saw it as a challenge. I surrounded myself with smart people. I asked questions. I learned everything I could. Because the truth is, if you are not improving, you are becoming irrelevant. Many companies fail not because of bad luck, but because they stop evolving. Blockbuster refused to adapt, and Netflix took over. Nokia ignored the smartphone revolution, and Apple dominated the market. The same happens to individuals. The moment you stop growing, someone who works harder will pass you. The good news? Improvement doesn't happen overnight. It happens in small steps. Read one new book. Learn one new skill. Ask one better question. If you improve by just 1% every day, imagine how much better you'll be in a year. Success is not about making big jumps. It's about making small progress consistently. So ask yourself, what are you doing today that makes you better than yesterday? Because the people who keep learning will always be the ones who keep winning.
Success is not about luck. It's about what you do every single day. Your habits determine your future, because small, repeated actions create big results. When people look at Alibaba today, they see a giant company. But what they don't see are the thousands of small habits that built it. The early mornings, the late nights, the constant learning, the endless problem solving. Great success is simply the result of great habits. Many people think they need motivation to take action. That's a mistake. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. The secret to success is not in feeling inspired. It's in creating routines that keep you moving, even when you don't feel like it. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day to eliminate unnecessary decisions. Warren Buffett reads for hours daily to sharpen his mind. What do all successful people have in common? They control their habits before their habits control them. If you want to change your life, don't focus on the big outcome. Focus on the daily actions that will take you there. Because in the end, success is not one big decision. It's a series of small, powerful habits repeated over time. So, what habits are shaping your future right now? Are they leading you to success or keeping you where you are? Success is never built alone. No matter how smart, talented, or hardworking you are, the people around you will shape your future. If you want to go far, you must build strong, meaningful relationships. Early in my career, I learned that business is not just about making money, it's about people. When I started Alibaba, I didn't look for the best resumes. I looked for people with passion, vision, and the willingness to grow. I surrounded myself with people who believed in our mission, and together we built something incredible. Many people think networking is just about meeting powerful people, but real relationships are built on trust, honesty, and mutual support. If you only call people when you need something, that's not a relationship. It's a transaction. The most successful people understand that the more you help others, the more others will help you. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Whether in business or in life, the relationships you build will determine your success. Treat people well, listen more, and always give before you take. So ask yourself, are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Are you investing in relationships that help you grow? Because in the end, success is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become along the way.
Fear is natural, but it cannot be what stops you. Everyone feels fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty. But there is one big difference between those who win and those who quit. Winners take action despite fear. When I started Alibaba, I had no guarantee it would work. We had no money, no connections, and no experience. But I knew that if we never tried, we would never know. Fear disappears only when you face it head-on. Most people wait to feel confident before they act, but that is a mistake. Confidence comes after action, not before. The first speech I gave to investors, I was nervous, but I did it anyway. The first big risk I took, I had doubts, but I moved forward, because I learned that the only way to conquer fear is to move forward despite it. Every opportunity you want is on the other side of fear. The most successful people in the world are not those who never felt afraid. They are the ones who learned to act even when they were afraid. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding because of fear? If fear is standing between you and your dreams, there is only one thing to do. Take the first step anyway. Creativity is not a special talent that only a few people have. It is a skill that anyone can develop. If you want to stand out, you must learn to think differently. The world does not reward those who follow the rules. It rewards those who rewrite them. When I founded Alibaba, people said it was impossible to compete with giants like eBay. But instead of copying what they did, we decided to do things differently. We focused on small businesses, something no one else was doing at the time. That creative approach made us leaders. The problem is that many people believe creativity is something you are born with. That is not true. Creativity grows when you expose yourself to new experiences, challenge assumptions, and look at problems from different angles. Every great innovation starts with someone asking, "What if?" Creativity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. If you want to be more creative, surround yourself with people who think differently. Read books that challenge your views. Travel, explore, ask questions. The more you feed your mind with new ideas, the more innovative you become. So, the question is, are you thinking the same way as everyone else? Or are you daring to be different? Because the future belongs to those who create new possibilities. When I was younger, I dreamed big. But dreaming is not enough. You need to demand more from yourself. If you accept mediocrity, that's all you will ever achieve. The people who succeed in life are not always the smartest or the luckiest. They are the ones who set high standards and refuse to lower them. When we built Alibaba, we didn't aim to be just another e-commerce company. We aimed to be the best. We set a standard so high that most people thought we were crazy. We wanted to connect small businesses in China to the entire world, at a time when few even had access to the internet. But because we dared to expect more, we achieved more. Too many people settle. They say, "This is good enough." But good enough never changes the world. Look at the companies that dominate today. They didn't succeed by being average. They set the highest standards and never compromised. Setting high standards forces you to grow beyond your limits. It makes you push harder, think smarter, and expect more from yourself and those around you. If you aim low, you will always hit the target. But if you aim high, even your failures will be greater than most people's successes. So ask yourself, are you demanding enough from yourself? Because in the end, your standards determine your destiny. Words have power. The way you speak shapes the way you think. If you talk like a failure, you will think like a failure. If you speak with confidence, you will act with confidence. I have seen many brilliant people fail simply because they didn't know how to communicate their ideas. I have also seen average people succeed because they mastered the ability to speak with clarity and conviction. When I talked about Alibaba in the early days, I didn't say, "Maybe we will succeed." I said, "We will succeed." I spoke it into existence before it was real. Have you ever noticed how the greatest leaders in history speak? They do not use words like maybe or someday. They speak with certainty. They use words that inspire, motivate, and push people into action. That is not a coincidence. If you want to change your life, start by changing your words. Replace "I can't" with "I will." Stop saying I'm not good at this and start saying I am learning. Your words create your future. If you want people to believe in you, you must first believe in yourself. And it starts with how you speak. So the next time you talk about your goals, ask yourself, are you speaking like someone who is going to win? Because success starts with the language you choose to use. Success is not just about intelligence or hard work. It is about how well you manage yourself and others. In business, I have met people who were highly skilled, but failed because they could not control their emotions. I have also seen people with average skills rise to the top because they understood how to work with people. Early in my career, I learned that business is about people. If you do not understand people, you cannot succeed. It's not just about numbers, strategies, or technology. It's about relationships. And to build strong relationships, you must develop emotional intelligence. There were times at Alibaba when things went wrong, badly wrong. Employees were frustrated. Investors were nervous. If I had reacted with panic, everything would have collapsed. Instead, I stayed calm. Because a leader's emotions set the tone for the entire team. If you are strong, your people will be strong. Emotional intelligence is about more than just controlling yourself. It is about understanding others. If you can read people, if you can see what motivates them, what scares them, what inspires them, you will always have an advantage. So ask yourself, are you in control of your emotions, or are your emotions controlling you? Because in life and business, those who master their emotions will always be ahead of those who don't. I have failed more times than I can count. I failed my university entrance exams. I was rejected from 30 jobs. Even KFC hired 24 out of 25 applicants, and I was the only one left out. But none of that stopped me. Most people think failure is the opposite of success. That is a mistake. Failure is part of the journey. It is a test. It asks you, how much do you want this? The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who never give up. When I started Alibaba, everyone told me we would fail. Investors laughed at us, competitors were stronger. We had no money. But I told my team, today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Most people give up tomorrow night. Look at the biggest companies in the world. They all failed before they succeeded. The difference? They kept going when others quit. The world does not belong to the smartest or the strongest. It belongs to those who refuse to give up. So when life knocks you down, and it will, what will you do? Will you stay down, or will you get back up stronger? Because resilience is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. I have always believed that success is not just about what you achieve. It's about who you inspire along the way. When I started Alibaba, it wasn't just about making money. I wanted to create opportunities for people who had been ignored. I wanted to give small businesses in China a chance to compete on a global scale. Many people think that inspiration comes from being rich or powerful. That is not true. People are inspired by struggle, perseverance, and courage. They follow those who have faced difficulties and still found a way forward. If you want to lead, if you want to build something great, you must inspire others with your vision and actions. I have seen talented people fail simply because they lacked belief. I have also seen ordinary people achieve incredible things because someone inspired them to see their own potential. That's what leadership is about. It's not about control. It's about empowerment. I never had a role model in business when I was young, but I decided to become one for the next generation. If I, a man who was rejected from every job, who failed multiple times, could build one of the biggest companies in the world, then so can you. That is the message I want to leave behind. So ask yourself, are you just working for yourself, or are you inspiring others to rise with you? Because in the end, the greatest success is not what you take, it's what you give back. Many people think leadership is about giving orders. That is a mistake. Leadership is not about power, it's about service. A great leader does not stand above others, he lifts them up. When I started Alibaba, I didn't know everything. In fact, I knew very little about technology. But instead of pretending to be the smartest person in the room, I surrounded myself with people who were better than me. That is what a leader does. He builds a team of people who challenge him, teach him, and make the vision stronger. Too many leaders fail because their ego gets in the way. They stop listening. They think they are the reason for their company's success. But here's the truth. No company succeeds because of one person. It succeeds because of a team. I have always led with honesty and transparency. If I made a mistake, I admitted it. If I didn't know something, I asked for advice. People respect a leader who is human, not a leader who pretends to be perfect. So, the question is, are you leading with ego, or are you leading with humility? Because the strongest leaders are not the ones who demand respect, but the ones who earn it. Time is the most valuable thing you have. You can lose money and make it back, but once time is gone, it never returns. If you do not control your time will control you. When I was building Alibaba, I had to make difficult choices. I couldn't do everything. I had to focus on what truly mattered. I learned that successful people don't do more, they do what's important. Many people waste time on distractions. They check their phones every minute, watch endless videos, and say they are too busy to work on their dreams. The truth is, you are not busy. You are just not prioritizing the right things. If something is important, you will find time. If it is not, you will find excuses. I always ask myself, is this action bringing me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, I stop doing it. Every decision, every meeting, every project must have a purpose. If you spend your time on meaningless things, you will have a meaningless future. So, are you in control of your time? Or is time slipping away while you wait for the perfect moment to start? Because success is not about how many hours you work, it's about how wisely you use them. In a world where everyone is trying to fit in, being different is your greatest strength. Too many people are afraid to show who they really are. They pretend to be someone else because they think that's what success requires. But let me tell you, the world doesn't need more copies, it needs originals. When I started speaking at conferences, people told me to be more serious, to act like a traditional businessman. But that was not me. I joked, I shared my failures, I told stories. And because I was real, people connected with me. Authenticity builds trust. Without it, you are just another forgettable name. Look at the most successful entrepreneurs. They didn't try to be like everyone else. They built their success by embracing their uniqueness. That is what made them great. I have seen too many people fail because they spent their lives trying to be what others expected. But those who win are the ones who are brave enough to be themselves. So, are you trying to blend in? Or are you daring to stand out? Because real success doesn't come from imitation, it comes from authenticity. Your personal brand is the most powerful thing you own. It is what people say about you when you are not in the room. If you do not build your brand, the world will build one for you, and you may not like the result. When I started Alibaba, I knew that trust was everything. No one knew who I was, no one believed in my company, but I made sure they remembered our mission. I made sure they saw that we were not just another company, we were something different. That is branding. A strong brand is not just about a logo or a tagline. It is about the story you tell and the values you stand for. The most successful people in the world built brands that people trust, and trust is more valuable than money. If you want to succeed, people must know you, trust you, and remember you. Your brand must be clear. Who are you? What do you stand for? Why should people believe in you? If you cannot answer these questions, neither can the world. So what is your brand saying about you? Because in today's world, people don't just buy products, they buy stories. Make sure yours is worth remembering. If there's one thing I have learned in life, it is this. Distractions are everywhere, and persistence is rare. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they give up too soon. When I started Alibaba, I saw many competitors rise and fall. Some had better technology. Some had more money. But most of them disappeared because they lost focus. They kept changing their direction, chasing too many things at once, and eventually collapsed. Success requires absolute focus. If you want to achieve something great, you must be willing to ignore the noise. Forget the latest trends. Stop worrying about what others are doing. Stay committed to your vision. I always tell my team, if you chase 2 rabbits, you will catch none. But focus alone is not enough. You need persistence. Many times Alibaba was on the edge of failure. We had no money, no support, and no guarantees. But we kept pushing forward. We did not stop just because things were hard. We found another way. So ask yourself, are you fully committed to your dream? Or are you allowing distractions and difficulties to break your focus? Because the only way to reach success is to keep going when everyone else stops. I have never believed that success is just about money. Money is temporary, but the impact you create, the lives you change, that lasts forever. When I started Alibaba, I was not thinking about becoming rich. I was thinking about helping small businesses grow. I was thinking about creating opportunities for people who had been overlooked. That is what success means to me. Many people work hard to build a career, but they forget to build a legacy. A legacy is not what you achieve, it is what you leave behind for others. The greatest leaders in history, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, did not focus on themselves. They focused on how they could make the world better. I want my story to show young entrepreneurs that they too can succeed, no matter where they start. I want them to see that failure is not the end, that persistence pays off, and that true success comes from lifting others up along the way. So ask yourself, what kind of legacy are you building? Will people remember you for what you took or for what you gave? Because in the end, real success is measured not by what you gain, but by what you leave behind.
Jack Ma has never been an ordinary thinker. He never waited for perfect conditions, never followed traditional paths, and never let rejection define him. Before the world believed in Alibaba, Jack Ma already saw it in his mind. He believed in his vision long before it became real, and that belief, against all odds, is what turned him into one of the most influential entrepreneurs of our time. In one of his most powerful speeches, Jack Ma shared a message that every aspiring entrepreneur, dreamer, and leader needs to hear. Success is never given to those who wait. It is earned by those who believe first and act without guarantees. This mindset is what separates those who stay stuck in doubt from those who turn impossible ideas into reality. Jack Ma's story is not about luck. It is about decisions. The decision to be extraordinary. The decision to keep going after failure. The decision to think bigger, act with confidence, and never lower his standards. He faced rejections, lost opportunities, and countless setbacks, but he never lost his vision. In this speech, Jack Ma takes us through the key principles that shaped his journey: how to develop resilience, build strong habits, master time, and lead with authenticity. He reveals how success is built not by seeing first and then believing, but by believing first, even when no one else does. Prepare to be inspired, because the lessons you are about to hear are not just theories. They are battle-tested principles that have shaped one of the greatest business empires in history. If you have ever doubted yourself, if you have ever wondered whether your dreams are too big, this is the moment to change your mindset. Because success is not about waiting for proof. It is about having the courage to believe before you see it. Now that you've heard these lessons, the real question is, what will you do with them? Knowledge alone is worthless without action. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. The successful ones apply what they learn. Will you start setting higher standards for yourself? Will you learn to manage your time with excellence? Will you push forward even when fear tries to stop you? Because the truth is, no one will hand you success. You must take it. Jack Ma built Alibaba not because he had money, connections, or experience, but because he had belief, persistence, and a willingness to learn. He understood that success is earned by those who refuse to quit, who embrace failure as a teacher, and who never stop improving. So, which lesson resonated with you the most? Comment below and share the principle that impacted you the most. And if you ever need a reminder, come back and listen again, because these lessons are not just for today, they are for life. Make sure to subscribe to the channel now, because if you don't, you might never find this video again. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more lessons that will change the way you think, work, and succeed. And before you go, watch the next video, because one video can open your mind, but a journey of learning is what will change your future.